You're watching The Kate Fox Show. I'm Kate Fox, and today I am here with Ron Villano. And Ron, we're not going to address your titles or your licenses now, but what we're going to address first is he is the author of The Zing.
Yes.
And this lovely little book is very inspirational. And you and I was under a misconception because we'll talk about your loss a little bit later, but I thought you had written the book because of the loss of your son. And you just told me you had that in the works before any of that happened.
Right, and then losing Michael enhanced it.
It enhanced.
Right, because it didn't come out. It came out after.
Okay.
Right, but it enhanced the book. Michael enhanced it for me, which, but there were the analogies in there and the chapters were thought of prior. And they were thought of, and I utilize a lot of what's in there with patience as well. So like the tunnel, I would use that analogy with the patients on how to get to, say, something negative,
right,
and get through the tunnel to get to where the light is. And what most people do is they enter the tunnel, and whatever they're going through. So say you're going through a bad relationship. So now you finally break up, and you get into the tunnel. So you're going away from it. But as you get into that tunnel, it gets darker and darker. But where you just came from, there's light. So they run back out and go right back again and try that again, because it's comfortable and it's less scary now. So and then it doesn't work, right? A lot of times. Right. Now they go back in the tunnel. They do that 3 or 4 times. So most people in relationships, if they break up or they're not going well, they'll try maybe 3 to 5 times with the same person. And they'll go in but the key is in the tunnel is to get through the tunnel. So when you get into the darkest spot, remember the worst spot, that's when that speck of light's going to appear very soon, because it's going to get through to the other side, and then you're going to see the speck of light. When they see the speck of light on the other side, all this light now doesn't matter. So you don't run back out. You want to go where that light is, something new, something different, because you had enough. And then you finally go through, and as you're going through the other side, it gets brighter and brighter till you get outside the other end. No one ever went outside the other end of the tunnel and said, let me go back where I was. Never do. They're always happy. But getting from here to there is scary. And that's okay, because for all of us it is in the beginning. Right? It's change, it's abandonment, it's a feeling of, okay, now what do I do? I'm by myself, whatever it is. And that's in that situation. You could use it for jobs and multiple things that you have lost. Right? A relationship breakup is a loss. And any loss you have, you need to grieve in order to process it through. That's what we call sometimes people who don't grieve it or process it are bringing the baggage from that relationship into the next. Okay, so you need to process it. Otherwise, you're going to bring that in, and you're going to have triggers from the past with the new person or the new thing you're doing or the new job. So a lot to know there. But the tunnel, that's what that is, to get you from beginning to end. And good counseling, and a lot of good therapists do that. Maybe they don't call it that, but they want to get you from where you are over to the other side so you can start living a different life, right? With change.
Right. Well, and now, what brings you, I'm trying to think of how to say it. So you were processing this in your head, you had these ideas in your head. And
for about 5 to 7 years.
Really?
Right. That's because what I did was most people take something simple and make it complicated.
Right.
I took this, made something complicated, simple. So when someone reads the book, they go, oh, I know, I understand. But in the Zing's one of the only self-help books that has no repetition and doesn't tell you how to think. It provokes you to do your own thinking.
Yes, it does.
Right. So, and it has to be simplistic. So anything you want to get across to someone else needs to be able to communicate to them that they understand it. When somebody reads something or you're speaking to them and they say what, or they act like they understand and they didn't, they're not going to get the beef of it. So my mentality is to bring everything, even my counseling with patients, to a 6th grade level. And I like that for myself. If you're speaking to me, bring it to a 6th grade level so I understand exactly what you're saying. I don't need just to think that I'm smarter than you or not smarter than you or whatever. I want to get the message across.
Right.
And when you're speaking, I want to be able to hear you clearly. And that's why good therapists, and there are a lot of them, will sit there and say, how do you feel about that? They're not using that as just a how do you feel statement. They're trying to get you to express a feeling. Do you feel angry about that? Do you feel sad? so that they can start working with what you're relating, what's going on, to a feeling. See? So how are you going to do that unless you're really listening, not only to the therapist, but you have to learn how to listen to yourself.
Yes.
Right? Most people don't listen to themselves, and if they did, and I will say this, women have the best intuition. And your women listening out there, I think a lot will agree with me. Most of them, if we want to use relationships, let's just use that simple one, have been in relationships, and they knew from the beginning that I don't think I should go any further. And their friends helped them and said, don't go any further with this person. But they went anyway. And later they say the famous phrase, I should have, right? But their intuition is amazing, amazing. But if they listened to their intuition from the beginning and took the chance to listen to their own intuition, they would avoid, I would say probably, I'm going to stick my neck out, 90% of issues.
You just made my armpits sweat.
Oh.
I'll tell you right now. Because I have had that situation where I knew from day one and I stayed way too long. So but it's true.
Yes.
We know it's not right. We know what's so you just threw me again. You're throwing me all night today.
Okay.
But because it's true. Women are, well, I'm an intuitive. So
They have it.
But yeah, it's crazy.
If you want to do a little survey, ask any woman, and even people listening to you, ask the average person who has been through a divorce, and we know where there's a lot of divorce out there. Ask them, or a breakup, even a breakup. The woman now, ask her. I guarantee you, if they were with the person 5 years and then finally broke up, they were contemplating that at least 2 to 3 years. But see, a woman tries to keep it going. They'll do anything to keep the unit, and a lot of women with families, remember, they're not divorcing the person, it's a family.
Right.
And the woman puts a lot of effort, so do men, but they put a lot of effort, right? They have the child, they thought about the child, you know, and now they have it, and they have this family unit. So they will put up with stuff not to lose their family unit, because they're very, you know, they're thinking about the kids, they're thinking about even the husband, they're thinking about this whole unit that's going to be dismantled. And it's very difficult for them because they're not going to separate from their children ever. A lot of men don't want to separate from their children, right? But in this society, the man usually doesn't get the children, the women get the children. However, when people think about the children first, everybody gets the children. Because now if they're a good mother and a good father, what's the difference if the father picks the kid up today or the mother has the kid, you know? And a lot of times moms would come to me and go, I thought I never was going to let my kid go on the weekends, this and that. I look forward to now knowing he's coming to pick the kids up. So, you know, they make it fun later, but when it's going through it in the beginning, it's not any fun at all, because people are thinking we're breaking the unit up.
Right.
And the men feel it in a man's way, you know. But right now we're speaking to a lot of women. But it's a whole nother side of it.
Very interesting. You know what? We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Kate Fox, and I am here at the new and expanded home of Tresses and Colors at 1227 Montauk Highway in Oakdale. And they are just preparing to celebrate 25 years in business and have recently won Best of Long Island. They are house to Sunny and Dew as well, which is all natural skincare and hair products. And boy, you can find anything you want here. So don't forget to shop local discounts and mention the Kate Fox Show for 25% off any hair service. And we're back. And one of the things you said was that Michael helped you write this book. And Michael is your son who passed away in a car accident, correct?
Yeah, July 22nd, 1998, Michael and his friend Anthony were killed by a tractor trailer on a sunny afternoon. And not to go into fully, but that I felt when I lost Michael, I said, he took my life. Now I say he gave me life. Now I see life as wonderful. I see Michael just said, start living. You know, I have a phrase when you've lost someone, the phrase I have is, honor your loved one's life by living yours. So the more I live, say, my son Michael's life, or if somebody lost someone, the more you live that life fully, you're honoring that person. Because if they came here, right, back again, would he say to me, or that person he's lost say, oh, don't live happy, Dad, I want you to be miserable? No, he'd say, Dad, get in there. Go live. Have a good time. What are you doing? I'm with you. I'm always with you. So that took me about 12, 14 years of grieving. Wow. I'm kind of a story of Job. And I lost everything, financially and all that. and I was broken down, and I know what it means. I don't mean you hit the bottom. I hit the bottom, like 10 rings down. And where I am today is mesmerizing. Every which way is better than I ever was before. And this was a blessing because I learned how to finally let it go. You know, in the Bible, there's a scripture that says the camel gets through the eye. The camel can get through the eye of a needle.
Mm-hmm.
The eye of the needle is like a trestle, right? Like a tunnel.
Right.
Like you get through one side to the other. And in order for the camel to get through, they had to take all the bags off him. So he could only get through, squeeze into his own body. They had to squeeze until he couldn't take nothing through. So I learned through that passage is what made me come through to say I had to shed everything from the past, all negativity, everything, with a lot of work in order now to live a new life and refreshed. And that's what happened. So that's one of the things that got me through, was that scripture really banged me in the head to, wait a minute, you got to shed all that past stuff to get through. And that's what I did. But Michael gave me life. And now I go around and people who don't even know about it say, you lost a son? You seem like the most positive guy I ever met. Well, you wouldn't want to meet me a few years ago.
Right.
But now, you know, and listen, people who lost children who are listening to this know what I'm talking about. You know, to live your life fully again, it's very difficult. And you can't minimize that. A lot of people out there can't get past that, and they wonder how I do it. And I'm only 3 inches from the cliff, right? I stay here. But if I feel myself going over, I work out a lot and I do stuff like that. And I make sure I don't go over the cliff. I stay right here. But I have to tell you, there's nothing better though than living your life with that person that you lost every day and let people know about it. You know, and that's the key. Talk about your person, your child or a parent, whoever you lost that you love dearly. Talk about them, you know, but talk about them in a way of like reality. Like my son Michael was a great guy, but he was a pain in the neck a lot of times, right? He was a nudge. He was a little ladies' man. Even as young as he was a ladies' man. So, you know, a lot of good stories. But listen, people are who they are. You're not gonna put the icing on because he's not here. You know, and I talk about him just like reality, like the way he really was all the time. But I have other children, and it's all equal. They're all the same now.
Right.
So they're all on the same level. Otherwise, you rob your other children by focusing on the child that you lost, and you miss out on the other gifts that God gave you. So those other children are not there to replace what you lost. They're there. They're just part of your life. You have to make them any better, any worse. And the person you lost is still part of the whole family. Whether they're in the present or not, but they're with you. And I don't know any parent, I don't, in all the talks I've given, who hasn't said that they feel their child with them all the time, even closer. Mm-hmm. And that's not made up. That's not like ooey ooey. That's a real gift that you get back.
Right.
And that's how I feel I have.
And you have done a lot of talks for people who've lost people. Well, you do a lot of talks.
Oh, yes.
Period.
Yes, groups all over the country. We've gone and spoken to different groups, and you know, bereaved parents, and just a lot of different groups out there. And you know, Bob Policastro from Angela's House. Right. We spoke for his organization, and you know, it's about embracing change. So whether you had loss or not, you need to embrace change. You need to wake up in the morning and say, change is coming, no matter what. It doesn't matter what the change is. It could be this big, it could be this big. Embrace the change. And when you start to embrace change is when you start to live. So embracing change means expect something different's going to happen today. Don't panic something different's going to happen today. Expect it. Don't look for it. Just expect it. So when it comes, pause. You don't know what it is. And journaling, I'm a very big believer in journaling.
Really?
Write down your feelings. Because when you write and journal, I believe it's the first time you actually can see what you're thinking. Otherwise, how would you know what you're thinking by keep talking and talking and talking? See, you need to journal. Patients who come to me know I'm worse than the teacher in school that gave you a lot of work, but you'll love me later, you see? So I give them a lot of work to do. I believe in reading self-help books like I love the 4 Agreements, I love The Power of Now, you know. There's so many good books. Who Moved My Cheese is I think one of the best books out.
Who Moved My Cheese?
Yep, the very basic, but boy, it gives you what a message. Who Moved My Cheese? That book I think sold over 40 million books, little books.
Wow.
Yeah, the Zing actually, I would say, the Zing is close to a Who Moved My Cheese in its own way, because it's a very deep philosophical book. However, the novice can read it and get something out of it.
It's very easy to
read.
read.
But also somebody who's advanced reader will get out what I truly meant on the depth side.
Okay.
But a novice will get out of it what they need to get out of it to get them started and how to start thinking about, wow, maybe I need to do some more thinking about my job and having an exit strategy so I could maybe do something different to feel better. You know, nothing wrong with that. That's what I mean. Change isn't bad. We're all raised that if you have a good job, you have good benefits, don't leave it.
Right.
But you know how many people, and I come from a big Italian family, did that, and they were miserable. They went to work going, oh, at least I got good benefits, a good vacation. But they weren't, but they brought that home.
Right.
And you felt bad because they never looked, you know, zingy. So that's what the zing is, living life, 2 levels of a passion, and feel passionate about what you're doing, who you're with, and choose what you do. Never say I have to. You know, we actually have the phrase I choose to.com. So I choose to. So meaning, if I said, well, I have to do, today I have to do the Kate Fox show. How does that sound? Like I have to. How about, hey, I'm going to do the Kate Fox show. I'm excited about it. I'm choosing it. See, I'm choosing to go to work. I'm choosing to be with Karen. I'm choosing to do this. Now, here's the difference. If you say I choose to, you're empowering yourself. When you say I have to, you're giving your power to that situation or that person. So I choose to. So when a young person said at a talk, well, I don't choose to go to school or go to work. I said, well, let me tell you something. You choose to go to school because you choose to get an education, and you choose so you could have a career, and you oh, right, because if you don't choose the school, how are you going to get to the next level? Right. Your father and mother are telling you, we're choosing to go to work because by going to work, we're choosing to purchase a home, we're choosing to go on vacation. Without choosing to go to work, how would we have that? So if I say I have to go to work, then that vacation isn't that good. Because now, I worked 50 weeks miserably because I had to go for 2 weeks? I don't think so. So I think let's choose all the good things that we do so that we can empower ourselves. Even the negative, like you spoke before, right? You were feeling that with a relationship. You chose that relationship, even if it turned out terribly. You chose it, but then you chose to come out of it.
Right.
Isn't that empowering?
Yes.
So we're not bad people, so we chose to do something that didn't turn out right. Why are you going to beat yourself up? Now I chose to come out of it. Well, she did it in a year. It took me 5 years. Well, SW, so what? What did you get out of that 5 years? Did you learn a lesson that maybe will give you the next 50 years of life, a better life, because of those 5? Isn't that a pretty good trade-off? Didn't feel like it then. Losing Michael wasn't a fun time for me, for years and years and years. But without losing Michael, I would have never lived this life that I have today. It'd never be enhanced. So Michael has blessed me and my family. Not in the beginning, because I wasn't ready for that. It was forced change. But look at what we got out of it. Look what we took out of it. So people say, would you give all this up to have Michael back? Well, that's a crazy question, right? Of course you want your son back, right? But my point is he's not here. So now I can't think in a fantasy way. I have to think of reality and go forward and say, look at all the blessings that I'm being blessed, even with this personality, right? Thank God. And he's blessing me. And now as I'm getting blessed, I take my son with me with my other children equally. No one's any different. No one's any better. So that's how I look at it. So it's a blessing as an adversity turned into, and that's a message I'd love to get to people who have any kind of loss. Really sit down and do the work and journal and what happened, and now what can come of this? What changes can come up? It's not fun. Trust me, there's no fun in it. However, when the end comes out of the tunnel, and like in the book, the light bulb people that come in to play, right? So many different things in here. That's when you see, wait a minute. Now I'm following this pathway to get from here to there. I ain't happy about it. I'm carrying the load on my shoulder, but for some odd reason, it's starting to get a little lighter and a little lighter. And before you know it, you're standing up going, wow, was I carrying all that on my back? You know what? Michael was the camel that broke the camel's back, but there were many other things that were bothering my life that I never faced. And then when that happened, I couldn't stand that no more. I couldn't take the pressure. And he opened up many more things. And that's what happens also. So the person that we lose, yes, we're grieving for, we're missing, but look for where maybe they got you now finally to break down enough to say, wait a minute, I got to recognize all the other stuff too and do that work. so I could shed that off. And that's the real process of reading, is working all the components that are bothering you. So whatever happened in somebody's life, they could process all of that through, and that adversity is what broke them down enough. Because no one does anything when they had enough. They only do something when they had enough of having enough. Because I know a lot of people say, I had enough of you, and they go back. I had enough of you. But they go, you know what? I finally had enough of having enough. And you know what happens? The talking stops. You don't care no more. Whatever they say, yeah, go do what you want to do. That's it. And now you're starting to become empowered. And then the calmness comes over. You can't understand how you have a calm in the storm. So, you know, a lot of stuff like that. But in the book itself, guarantee people who read it will tell you they've got a lot of this out of it. And I think they even get more than I get out of it, to be honest, though. Who knows?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, we're going to take one more break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Billy Mira, and you are watching The Kate Fox Show.
And we're back. And now we're talking about the Zing, and what I want to talk about, though, is your thriving practice, which has expanded greatly. And you are... Now you're going to save me because you do family counseling, you do everything.
Yeah, we cover every facet of counseling. We're probably one of the largest, if not the largest, private practice around, you know, if not even in the country. But we're very large, and we have a great administrative staff. We do all the insurance, we do everything in-house. We have 5 locations. We're opening up another one in Buffalo. We also are in all parts of New York. And out of New York now too, Florida, different spots like that.
That's right.
With telehealth. So telehealth through the pandemic opened up the practice even way more, because, and a lot of therapists will tell you that as well, because you have a lot of good people that couldn't make it to therapy. And you know, they were stuck, or a lot of moms, right? It's very hard for them with kids and everything, they can find the time.
Right.
So we have so many people now doing counseling, and I find a lot of people that the insurance companies and I guess the state thought would take advantage of it because it's just available, so why not do it from the home of convenience? Doesn't happen that way. No one uses counseling for fun. Everyone uses counseling because something's going on in their lives and they need to talk to someone. This isn't a game. This isn't having a conversation at the local bar or in a restaurant with a friend. You're calling a stranger and you're going to talk about some things that you've been holding as secrets. Right? We say in counseling field, you're as sick as your secrets. So we want you to get these secrets out, right? So that you can free yourself. And that's the job of a therapist, is to get to the 5% that you didn't tell anyone. Because most people come in with the 95, oh yes, and this happened, and my husband said this. We know that, but you told everybody that. I have to get to that part where you didn't tell anybody. That part inside you that you've been holding, whatever the reason. So with all that, telehealth actually opened that up, because people say, well, where do I go? Around my family in the pandemic and this and that. Well, I told them the best office you could ever go into, if you have it, is your car. Go inside your car. You can scream, you can yell. Nobody's going to hear you in there, right? The best place you can go. You can put your Zoom on in there. You can do everything in the driveway. So, you know, I think a lot more people were doing counseling now, and still are, and that's why this was very important, and saving a lot of families and saving a lot of people from stress that they've had, depression, addiction, suicidal thoughts, because they have access to speak to someone that they can do their counseling. So family personal counseling is large, however, but it's never large in the sense of how you're treated. It's very private practicey. You know, the therapists are all very qualified and phenomenal. Everybody's handpicked. And it isn't just to bring people in, just to have people to do counseling. We make sure the therapists are at the highest level and that they fit our culture. And family personal care has its own like culture.
Yes.
And we're very happy the way everything is going, and we have a great administrative. And everyone who works for me has to be nice. N-I-C-E. If they're not nice to you, I would like to know, because they wouldn't be working for us the next day. So no one will ever say anyone called family personal counseling and they were not nice, or the therapist. Everyone has to be nice, because that's one of the things people are looking for.
Right.
Comfort, right? And no one's a big shot. You know, we're all in here. The therapist, I mean, meaning even me, may need counseling and go to counseling. So it's not like a counselor doesn't go for counseling.
Right.
A good counselor a lot of times will be going to counseling to debrief their own stuff. So yeah, so it's a big counseling office, very big locations, covering the whole state of New York. However, it's run very much like the Wizard of Oz. So the front is all private practice and loving and just getting what you're supposed to have, and behind the scenes is a very strong corporate structure, organized, and that's to benefit the patient. So insurance is never out of whack.
Right.
The questions they need to be answered is immediate. You call for a same-day appointment, you get it. If somebody had a loss today, why would you deal with it 2 weeks from now? I need to deal with it now. Because somebody passed away, I need a therapist today. I went through a breakup today. I need to speak to someone. I want to feel like I want to die. I need to get a therapist today. Not the phone's not answered for a couple of weeks, and that's not even the therapist's fault. They're independent sometimes because they have a whole family of individual therapists, independent, and they're so busy and they're on the phone, so they don't have somebody sitting there answering the phone, right? So by the time they get to the call, so they're not trying to be mean to therapists. Like people think they're just pushing them aside. They can't get to it, and by the time they get to it, maybe you didn't answer the phone. Who knows? But with us, Family Personal Counseling, I do pride us on the phone rings, it's answered. You need a session, you get a session in whatever you're going through one of our therapists. So you'll be taken care of, and usually you get it within 1 day if you need it.
Wow.
Insurance, everything taken care of, and in you go. And we take 99% of all the insurances on top of it to help the people. A lot of therapists, don't take it
Right.
because they don't pay well a lot of times.
Wow.
But to me, those people need counseling as well, and they need to be treated with top-end counselors as well. So it doesn't matter. I was raised with a mother that said it doesn't matter. Person has $1, you treat them the same way as a person with $1,000. And I guarantee it, anyone who comes to our practice would say that they were treated very well.
Well, I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I have no doubt at all. Wow. If people want to look up your practice, learn about the Zing, buy the Zing, where do they go?
Well, go to thezing.com, and if you go to thezing.com, tie all the words together. Don't separate the Zing.
Okay.
Thezing.com together, and it comes up everything. A great website with everything on it. Amazon has it as well. I think Barnes & Noble, we get it through them. But thezing.com, you're probably better off. And also, other stuff's in a journal. We have a journal. We have the book on audio. We also have 2 relaxation CDs. One a hypnosis CD that relaxes you, and another one just plays sounds for you. We have that as well that we wrote. And Zing.com. You go to my name, Ron Villano. You'll see everything come up. Familyandpersonalcounseling.com.
Family and personal.
It's all over the place. Yeah, you could get all of that stuff. And you could YouTube me with all my talk. There's a lot of talks I've done on YouTube. So if you put my name, I think that I'm guessing 100 and something on there. All different analogies and stuff like that.
Wow.
So if that's helpful.
Well,
yeah,
it is helpful,
all
I
right.
think.
Just saying.
And I have to tell you, we have thoroughly enjoyed spending time with you, which I had no doubt. I knew we were going to. But just thank you for talking to us.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Well, I like Kate Fox, so I was looking forward to meeting you today. I met you before, but meeting you to do this talk.
Me too.
And you talked about it many times, and when God wants the right timing, it's the right timing. So whoever we touch, if we touch a person today, my true belief, then I did a phenomenal job. Don't need to touch more than one. If we touch a person, thank God, and hopefully that person's ourselves, right?
Yeah,
then we can spread it around. So that'd be nice. And it was a pleasure meeting Amy behind the scenes. Right, Amy?
And ladies and gentlemen, check him out, Ron Villano. Get the Zing.